So what are we pretending we're fine about today?
Nothing. Not on this couch. Welcome to On the Couch with Clear Corner.
Sanmonani. Welcome back to On the Couch, where every story deserves deserves a seat on the couch. I am your host, AYANDA MABASO, and we have
LUNGILE MNISI, your co-host.
Back to regular. Oh yeah,
back to default.
Yeah.
But now it's
I love it this way.
The two of us.
yeah, I love it this way. But yeah, I'm happy you're back. I hope.
Thank you.
I didn't really go into what was going on. I don't know if you want to share that, but I didn't want to let them know because obviously it's not my business to share.
No, I just needed some time to reset. You know, a lot of things were happening at home, and I just felt like so drained. And I just wanted to step away to pour into my cup and breathe, because, you know, I feel like I've been on survival mode for so long.
You did say.
Because even when it's like you're going through something and then something happens, and then it's like you have to pause on that to deal with what happened. So I just felt so empty, like my cup was dry, man. So just wanted to reset fully, like in every aspect, and just process and deal with all the things that were happening, because a lot was happening. I had to do so much at home, and I was just spent. You know, I felt like even the timing of things, because I wasn't home for the longest time, and then you go home and then
everything just,
so I was tired, and I didn't want to come on here and pretend. Like, I feel like so jumpy, so, you know, I am a person who often wears my heart on my sleeve, especially when I'm in the thick of things. So I don't want to come here and then pretend like I felt like it wouldn't have been authentic. So I just wanted to recuperate. But I'm back now. I was even away from Gauteng, so I could breathe out there in nature and enjoy myself. And I feel more like myself now.
As you should. As you should, because obviously this podcast is about being yourself, and you don't want to, you know, push something and you're actually not there mentally.
We're not hypocrites. So I'm glad to be back. It's been interesting. I've been watching. I've
seen your comments.
I was there. I'm a huge fan of our podcast. Like, honestly,
even a fan of your own work.
Seriously, even after we film, I watch those episodes. Like, for real. Like, even
I also do. I really do enjoy them.
We watch them before for approval, but I watch it. Like, as soon as it drops, I sit there and I watch it, and I'm laughing. I'm like, oh my days, you know. So I'm back, and I'm really glad to be back.
I'm happy you're back.
Listening to the conversations.
Hey, I'm a conversationalist, but we'll get into those.
How are you?
I'm good. As we spoke about with those Pogazi, obviously that was our guest co-host. We kind of touched a little on the trust. On episode 6. I think it was episode 6 where when we deeply went into that. I discovered that, okay, maybe it's not a toxic trait. Maybe it's just I'm just scared of being hurt. Which I did then go home and I thought about it. I was like, actually, that is true. I'm really scared to get hurt. Because I have so much trauma on that. But we're not going to talk about that today. As we said, we'll have a private conversation afterwards. But just to jump on today's episode, I wanted to stick on family. I wanted to ask how you grew up. How was your childhood like? How were your parents like? What type of child were you? I wanted to say initially, I wanted to also have Uspogazi on as well. But unfortunately, guys, she won't be joining us moving forward. But we'll talk about that in the episode. But I wanted to stick to that topic because there's this notion that people have, people in the queer community didn't have a good upbringing. Their parents probably did something to them, or they have this perception, a queer person got traumatized in some way. So I wanted to did that because I knew you had a good upbringing. I've had a good upbringing, and I thought Klampos Pogas would also have a little bit to say on that, because I know she also grew up with both her parents, you know, and I believe that probably nothing happened to her. No trauma happened, because nothing happened to me as well. And I'm assuming that, but you'll speak for yourself because you're here. Okay, so let's go through that. Maybe it'll be the whole episode, so take your time. How were you as a child? Your parents? All of that.
I grew up with my mother. My father passed on when I was very young, so I didn't really have a relationship with him that I could understand, like growing up. But
how old were you?
I think I was like 4 or 5 when he passed on. He was a present father and all of that. Because, okay, first thing, I was born a twin, right? You didn't know that? I was born a twin. Which
Why am I only finding out now, Lungile?
I never told you. No, yeah, I was born a twin. And then I think at 3 months, my twin had like some medical issues and then she passed on.
Shoots, our friendship is not real.
Yeah. I think it's just
such a big thing.
A fact that gets lost in the details. I also didn't know her because...
And it was a girl. I didn't know that.
Yeah. We were identical twins.
Yeah.
She was gonna have a gap though, because you can tell Anyiti with that thing in the gums. But yeah, that was the only difference between us. We were identical.
I would have loved to see another version of you. That would be so interesting.
Think about it actually. How would I always wonder? Yeah. Like I feel like growing up, I always had that part of me yearning and missing her. And I even used to tell I told my partner, my previous partner, Wuti, like I always felt like a loneliness inside of me that I could never get rid of. And I always thought that it was like that space. But yeah, I was born a twin. She passed on when we were 3 months old. And then I have an older sister. So my mom, I have an older sister. It's just the two of us. Basically by 3, but because of my twin. And then my father was a Jonasi.
Hey.
He had a lot of kids. He had like 12 that I know of. Apparently, the person who I thought was my dad's firstborn, she told me recently that he told her that she's not his first child. So we have an older brother who we never met. We don't know him. And then, I grew up with my mother. I was really close with my mother. My mother was my best friend, I spent most of my time with my mother. If I wasn't at school or at youth, I was with my mother like all the time. I grew up with my mother. At some point, my mother and I moved away from home, and then that's how we became more close. So back
it was
home,
just the two of you.
Yes. So back home, my sister stayed with my grandmother, and then my cousins and all of that. But I was closer to my mother. I think that's also why my sister and I are not that close, because we separated at some point.
You and your sister are actually very close. I don't, maybe not emotionally, but like when I hear you speak about her and how she shows up in your life, I'm like, your sister, I think she's doing above average than most siblings.
Oh, yes. My sister is my whole life, man.
Yeah.
Like, honestly,
the way
I don't
you
know
guys
what I would
support
do
each other as well. Like a lot of
sister.
siblings don't.
Yeah. I think with that part, I feel like we just, after our mother passed on, we had a conversation, like I told you before, like, too much, and we really show up for each other. I just feel like getting to know one another, that's way. But as it's cooler, it's relatively easier, because I feel like being Msaba also, because she's older and she's strict. So I just like that respect.
But she's not that much older.
She's 4 years old, but she's strict. I feel like after my mom passed, she had to set a certain boundary between me and I, because she had to show up in certain ways that I was not yet ready for.
Okay.
So there was that distinction between the two of us. It was okay. She's now my guardian, until I became a legal adult and I was able to provide as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I feel like now we're getting closer. We spend more time together. We text often. We even talk more personally. Now I get to know who she is. She's not. I feel like Vele. It's a thing. I've even seen it on videos, Uguti. When you grow older with your siblings, at some point you can become friends. So I feel like we're reaching that point. But yeah, I grew up with my mother mostly, and then my sister. I had a good childhood, man. My mother was really present and she was fun. We would sing together, things like that. I wouldn't say
very close relationship.
Very. In fact, a lot of people find it weird when people say that their mothers are their best friends, because some parents try to live through their children.
Yeah.
But me and my mom were genuinely close. Like I could tell her anything. She could tell me anything. I knew her. I knew things about her before she would even say them. I remember even when she was sick, she couldn't speak verbally because of intubations and stuff, but I could get her communication from, her gestures. I was the only person who could understand, because that's how much time I spent with her. I read her. You know what I mean? But yeah, I had a good childhood. There were a lot of things that happened, but I wouldn't say they affected me or it was trauma to change who I am. No, there were things like my grandmother was bipolar, so it was like really hectic because she would have these highs and lows and stuff.
Yeah.
But nothing that was like altering to. My
So
mother
who
was
you are
very
as a
loving.
person.
My mother believed in words of affirmation. So she would speak well over us, like pray for us. She was a really, really good mother. We never talked about dating and things like that. I think it hadn't come to that point as yet. It wasn't time. Because I remember when she told us about dating, she was like, "Zochola man na 18." And then I was not interested anyway, you know. So I did start dating behind her back though. When I was like in grade 10. That's the first time I started dating. But that's around the time she got sick. So I couldn't even talk to her about it. I just let it be. And then she passed on before we could have those conversations about dating and stuff. But I've always been like a tomboy. So she knew me, man. My mother knew me more than anybody. My mother was the type of person which, even if I was in trouble at school, for example, there was a time where I got in a fight at school. And, you know, she was called to the school to AYANDA, but she didn't take it as she saw this person who I had beat up at the time. And she judged me based on it. Because even before I could tell her that, Mama, we are for nigga school and this is what happened. That girl who I was fighting with came to my home with her parents. So they saw her appearance, and stuff. And then, you know, everybody was judging me. But my mother was able to listen and be like, okay, I'll go to the school. And then she talked to me on the side because she knows her child. You know what I mean? My mother was that person. My mother always told me that there's your side of the story, my side of the story, and the truth.
Yeah. Did she provoke you? Like, what actually happened?
Yeah, my mother would, you know, she knew me. I was not a violent person. So if it got that far, what happened, you know? So yeah, I really thank God for my mama. I remember the other day I was even crying, thinking about the seed that my mother planted in me. I am who I am now because of those values, those lessons that my mother taught me in passing or even intentionally. My mother would literally sit me down and teach me like actively, you know, isn't Jalo. So yeah, I had a really good upbringing. There's so many things that I could say, but that's like just the overall.
The general.
Yeah.
And what type of child were you? But before we get into that, your father, you did say he was present. How present was he? Was he in the home or?
No.
He would visit often?
My sister is 4 years older than us. So they had my sister, right? And then my father had another child outside with another woman who's like a few months, I think, younger than my sister. And then him and my mother were separated for a while. But he was still like providing. He was a provider. And then I think my sister lived with my father's family for a year or two while she was younger. And then we were born as the twins. My father was always a provider. He would come and see us. But there was a point where my mother didn't want anything to do with my father because of the life that he was living. He was a provider and he would see us and, you know,
present.
He was present, but he wasn't like with my mother.
It was a different relationship with your mother.
It was a different... in fact, my mother didn't want anything to do with him. When it was time for us to see him or whatever, my mother would send her younger sister with us. I
commend her for that because sometimes parents do involve the kids.
Exactly. And I remember in my older years in high school, I had a conversation with my mother about my father and I asked her what happened because, you know, you had other children with him even after he had another child after my sister. So what was the story there? She told me that no, at some point he wanted to settle down with her after we were born. I'm a twins.
Yeah.
And then she said no because he was into certain spiritual things that she didn't believe in. So that's where she decided to cut him off. So when he died, it was almost like, sorry to say, a relief for her because, I mean, Ubabe, he does have a say in how we are raised.
Yeah.
So when he passed on, she was relieved in a sense that pressure, Yoguti, he wanted to raise us in a different way than she did. So she didn't have to go through that anymore. But he was present. I mean, he even... when my twin passed away, my mother didn't have to lift a finger. Like, he took care of everything. You know, she was just grieving and she still had to take care of me as a baby. So yeah, he was a good father. That's all I know. I don't remember him, but he was a good father. So
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And I'm just singing to you. And how you grew up. How were you as a child?
I was very brave. I think that I was I've always been a very expressive person, you know, like my representation physically, like there's nothing much that changed. I think between the ages of childhood, like very young until before high school.
Yeah.
My mother decided on everything, like what I wore, what I did with my hair. The only time I started deciding on those things was when I was in grade 6. So in primary, my mother chose what I wore, my school uniform. I would wear a school skirt, like I would wear. She would even the clothes that she would buy me, like she would buy me dresses and skirts, even though she saw that I'm not interested in this. But you know, as a child, and I was just I was forced to wear skirts and stuff.
Yeah.
But you could tell good lungile, English, you know. And I was very brave, man. I was always that kid who's on the job at church. I think most of the time that we also spent was at church, volunteering and stuff. My mother's very involved in the church, so that's also how I got into the sound system of the church and things like that. I was very involved. I was very outspoken. You know, I was just extroverted. I think there was a big shift in my 20s, in my early 20s, with my personality in balancing who I allowed to see certain parts of me because of my character development.
Yeah.
But I often miss who I used to be as a child because there were certain traits about me that would be useful to me now as an adult. But because of that switch that happened in character development and all of that, I felt like I was not as joyful as I used to be as a child. But I'm trying to get that back, man. I feel like...
What are those things?
I feel like there was a time where my self-esteem was really challenged. I went through a very traumatic experience where, it gave me panic attacks. Like the first time I had a panic attack in my life. And I just went through a very traumatic... I don't want to go into it because, it was bad. We'll talk about it privately. But I went through a low experience where I was being attacked, like physically, even though my intentions were good. And I knew things that could have made it clear that, no, actually, it's the other way around. But I just... for the sake of the peace in that situation and in order not to ruin the relationship that those people had, I decided to take the fall for everything and walk away without saying my side of the story. You know, and after that experience specifically, I held up in the moment, but when I left, it crushed me. It crushed me. I remember I was in isolation for such a long time, like trying to... It was my friends in uni who brought me out of that situation. Like I was... it was bad, you know? So I feel like that year, I think it was 2021, that year really did something to me. I'm not going to lie. Like it altered my personality in a sense to say that I'm not going to extend myself so much anymore, you know?
So you became a little closed off, a little shy.
Even now, it's something that was a challenge for me to say, I'll let you get to know me beyond a certain point. And then past that, there's no excess. Because also, it's the same like you to say, I'm scared to be hurt.
Yeah, there's
so
that
I feel
thing
like
where it's been done before, and if you do it again, I don't know if I'll survive it.
That boundary, as soon as someone passes that boundary, like you have power now. Like, and I don't want to give that away.
It's scary.
And I can't give that away.
It's scary.
You know? So it comes off as I'm being unknowable now. I'll give parts of my personality here and there, but that's surface level.
Yeah.
Like nobody can say now I know Lungile. Like no, not even one. You know, because of that fear, because of that experience. I mean, I'm trying to break down those walls, but it's a protective mechanism.
It
you know.
is.
So as a child, I was very open, but beyond certain things, I closed off. And even after my mom died, that loss, it closed me off to a certain point, Uguti. Like
I can't care for someone to that
extent, you know, because it hurts. Not to say that love is not worth the experience and stuff, but I just feel like I can't open beyond that point.
And go through that again.
Like I can't, you know. But man, if it happens that those barriers are broken down, I mean, sure, but I don't even know how, you know, so.
But as you're explaining your childhood from the beginning and saying you were a child that was very involved in the church and you'd extend yourself, I actually do see that in who you are today, because you are an intentional person. Like not a lot of people will notice, but obviously I will notice. Like the things that you do are they're subtle, but then you take charge of a situation, even though you don't have to. You always do extend yourself in a situation, even though you don't have to help or you don't have to do something, you will always offer. So I do see those traits come through, as well as I think you're more quiet with me than you are with other people. I've noticed that too. I don't know if not in a bad way. I just feel like you're more relaxed. I don't know if relaxed or calm when you're with me. But when I've seen you as we're going out and developing our friendship, I do see you more open and social with other people.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't take offense to that, because I know when someone feels more comfortable around you, they don't have to not put up an act, but they don't have to try even be talkative, because like sometimes we'll even just sit there and say nothing.
We're not saying anything. No, that's the thing, right?
Yeah,
it's also like about what you said, Uguti. With your sisters, you can just be.
I feel like not even speak.
Exactly. I feel like for me, I saw that the first time we hung out. Remember last year on the 5th of July, we were just chilling, and there were moments of silence. At first, it was like, "Are you okay?" And
this is awkward.
But it was like, okay, this is actually a peaceful type of quiet. So it's like, when I'm with other people, it's like I want to keep up a conversation and
keep going. Yeah,
I don't know this person. This person just came. For example, when you go to Rose all day, a person will come.
You're very social.
And it's just like, oh yeah.
Lungile is like that girl that's very out there.
On the spot, yes, because this person just came here. Now when you know what I mean. But with you, like we talk when we talk, and then still it's okay when we're quiet, and it's just the comfort of it. I don't feel the pressure to try to keep up. Or even make a conversation out of nothing. When we're talking, we're talking. When we're laughing, we're laughing. But even in the silence, it's okay. For other people, it's like a social moment. It's not sustainable. I'm not gonna keep doing that with them. If we develop a friendship, and then it must be okay to be quiet, because I stay alone. Like 90% of the time, I'm by myself. I don't say a word.
And but for me, it's the opposite. Like, I'm going to do what I feel comfortable with. Like, as in when I first met you, like, I was just quiet. And that's how I actually judge people. If I feel comfortable in the silence, then it's a tick for me. If I don't, then
now you have to reestablish.
I don't ever change myself. Even when we do go to these events, like, yes, I'll speak to one, two people. But even then, when I do speak to them, it's us sitting and having a conversation. Because I remember that guy who was a chef at Rose. I think we went there for the second time. The first one. Yeah. I sat with him. We ended up going downstairs. So like I get attached to people, and I cling on to that one person. And so there'd be moments where we'd even just be sitting together. You know, so I'm just,
I get
so
you.
I don't,
for me,
it's opposite.
I'll go to different people, talk to different people. Yeah, it's just, I feel like there's a switch in my head. This is the type of space. So network, talk to people, and then that's it. But if it's now, like, for example, if we would go to Rose all day and then it's the same people, then it will be relatively the same. Like you and me, like we can just chill there, and then, not even to say we're not in the moment, but because now we've established that comfort to say. So I'll bounce from person to person, having different types of conversation, and it's like you're trying to keep up with the hype. But when I'm comfortable, then
and I only keep up with the hype because you keep up with the hype. Not that because you keep up with the hype, not in that sense, but it's like you also take me out of my comfort zone.
Let's go.
Because Lungile will go in the dance floor and I'm like, okay, let me go too, because now it looks awkward if I'm just sitting there. So like you do take me out of that, which I do love. But it is different for me from the get-go. If I'm not comfortable, it's not even moving to a social space.
How about you? How were you as a child? Your parents, your siblings?
So I have 3 sisters. I do have an older brother and older sister. So my parents had children before us. So my dad has a son and my mom has a daughter. And then a few years later, they then met each other, which then they had my sisters and I. So there's 4 of us. We're all girls. I grew up in the household. It was my 4 sisters, my father and my mother. So there was 6 of us.
And your brother? Wasn't living with you?
They were living with my
parents.
brother was living with his mother, and my sister was living with her father. So that was and back then, like when you get into a new marriage or a new relationship, which is not right, but they end up moving those kids. But yeah, that's how I grew up. But my siblings, I won't even say half siblings, and my siblings were always over. It wasn't a matter of I'm close to my sister now. She lives in Joburg. So I see her. I just saw my nieces and nephews. They came for the weekend. So it wasn't a thing of we were strained to each other. They did come, but like in the house, it was just the four of us and my parents. I had an amazing childhood. I think I had one of the best childhoods if I had to think about it. My dad, growing up, PJ, my dad would play games on our way to school. Like, we'd be in the car where we'd play these games where we had to guess like at what time would we, at a certain point from our way to school, we had to guess at what time. We'd all look at the watch and we'd guess at what time would we arrive there. And you had to stick to the kilometers, drive the exact speed, and then if you guessed it, I think you'd get 10 rand or 20 rand, but you had to guess the exact time too. And we play games where like usually that was a morning game, and then the afternoon game would like be sitting, we'd all face like on the seats because we're still small, and then we'd have to guess. He would drive around, then we'd have to look up in the windows, and then we'd have to guess like where we are. And if you guessed it right, you get. So like I had parents like that, and my mom as well. My parents are very supportive. My mom, imagine, by the way, my sisters and I are a year apart, and all of us were athletes at school. Played everything from chess to tennis to basketball. So imagine having 4 kids who are very active in school, and my parents were also very supportive when it came to that. I think especially my mom, for some reason my dad, I don't know how they discussed it, but my dad would do my morning drop-offs, and then my mom would do afternoon pickups. I think they would know why they did it like that. But so my mom was usually the one to support us, usually after sports. And so she would watch our games, she would come to my swimming. But they supported everything that we did, which sometimes when I think about, I'm like, that's a lot. Because I can't imagine coming back from work and then going to watch kids until late at night. Because even sometimes I was a professional, not a professional athlete, but I was a national swimmer, so I had to also travel, and my mom would also be there and pick me up at night when she had to. So my parents were very, 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 very active in my life and very supportive of the things that we did, to the point where I thought it was a normal thing for other kids. Even Jake getting picked up from school and dropped off was a big deal, after obviously realizing which is not a normal thing for everyone. Homework as well was a thing. What else? And vacations. We would have family vacations that we took religiously. Every year we knew that we were going somewhere. So my parents were also there financially, very much. But the type of kid that I was a quiet kid. Not quiet that I was reserved. I just didn't really speak much. But I was also very observant. And I was a kid who knew what she wanted, and I'd say when something was wrong. Like my mom would always say, if you want the truth, you'll get it from AYANDA. And even with certain teachers, like if I saw an adult doing something wrong, I would say it. Like I was just that child. Like, you know, like, no, you're not going to act that way. That's a little weird for you as a grown-up. And when I think about it now, I'm just like, oh, what? Like at my age, I did that. Because I remember even, I was in grade 4. Because I remember this so vividly, because the teacher sent me to the principal's office. I was in grade 4. I remember a teacher said something to me, and then she sent me outside, right? I remember it was for some stupid thing, because she then came outside and then she gave me a lecture about that thing. But then I found it funny, because in my head, I remember vividly, in my head I was like, but you're a grown adult, why are you arguing with a child? And then I giggled because it was a thought in my head, and she got so pissed off. She's like, I'm gonna stay there the whole day, this, that and whatnot. And when I remember moments like that in my life, or when I was in grade 7, I remember I had this teacher who just favored certain kids in class. I found that a little weird. And there was a time where he gave a speech. He stood in front of us all, and he gave a speech about he loves us all, he treats us equally. And I stood up. I was like, no, you don't.
Accountability.
I was like, no, you don't. Oh yes, I was sitting. I was like, no, you don't. And then he's like, and then he made me stand up. He's like, who do I favor? If you think like that, who do I favor? And then I point out like, this kid. I was like, this kid, and this kid. And I remember the one kid started crying because obviously she felt isolated. But I remember that year, a lot of kids hated me in my class. I don't know why.
Eish.
I think because they knew that I was a troublesome child, but not because I was naughty. It was because I was a truth teller.
Yes.
Like I would.
Yes. People don't like the truth.
Yeah. I would speak even to adults and say, that's a weird thing you're doing. Like, don't do that. And I think a lot of adults also didn't appreciate that, like a child who can speak, and a child is very mouthy when it's time to be. So I was that type of child. I wouldn't bully. Oh yes, I also remember my best friend actually from high school actually reminded me about this a few years ago, because sometimes I forget until people actually was like, Ayanda, you were such a weird kid. I remember we were, I think it was in grade 11, we were sitting with a group of these kids, but I didn't like them. And then eventually, like, I decided that I'm going to move away. I don't want to sit with anyone. So I decided to write her a letter to tell her why I'm moving and why I'm disregarding everyone. And for a couple of weeks, if not months, I sat by myself and I was okay with it. So I've always been that person, like, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care what's going on. If I don't like it, that's that. It's done. But like, I will never like put someone else down. It was always about what makes me uncomfortable. And if someone else was uncomfortable in that space because it was caused by someone else, then I would defend them always. I hated bullies.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated bullies.
I would have thought you got bullied.
No, really?
Because you're tiny and quiet.
No, actually, I never got bullied, but I'd always defend people who did. You know, when kids would say nasty things, I'd be like, what the hell? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I think at that age as well, like, I did look my age. I think now, like, obviously I'm a bit petite and small.
Yeah.
But at that age, I did look my age. So it wasn't isolated at all. And plus, I was also an athlete at school.
Yeah.
So... yeah, I was very fit, and it wasn't a thing of I was scrawny and nerdy and it wasn't that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the type of kid I was.
And how did you do in friendships, like as a kid?
In friendships, it's the same thing as now. I had one or two friends I was very close with. Yeah, I wasn't a popular kid in high school. I hated high school, if anything.
Why does everybody hate? I loved high school.
Some people loved high school. I remember there was one girl I was seeing. I actually, years later, funny enough, I ended up getting into a talking stage with a woman I went to school with. And she was more on the popular side of high school. And I was very much like... I don't want to say quiet because I wasn't, because I would speak when I wanted to speak. So it doesn't sound right if I say I was even reserved or anything like that. I just...
You would peak.
Yeah, but like when I spoke to her, because she was more out there, like she had an amazing childhood. I think it's an amazing childhood, amazing high school. So I hear Aguti, it was a very different experience for me. I didn't like high school. I don't know what about that place. It's just not... I think I peaked in university.
Okay.
Definitely. Like, that's where I got all my friends. We would travel all together, and that's where I made my close relationships. But in high school, primary, I was that kid that had one or two friends that I was close to. I tried the whole big friend group, but I never really fit in. It wasn't something I liked. And as I said, eventually I decided to isolate myself. And I wrote my best friend at the time a letter. And then a few weeks later, she joined me. She came to sit with... I actually want to ask her about that. We don't speak anymore, but I wanted to ask her, like, did you feel like I was picking that? Because I'm sure she had that...
Yeah.
Because I'm sure she really liked the people that she was sitting with. For me, I was just like, these people are weird. They would do weird things, and I just didn't agree with them at the time.
I
get
that.
I wonder if maybe if she thinks I made that decision for her because, or I pressured her in some way. Because I remember for a while, I'd sit either by the library and I didn't mind it at all at that age. But that's how I grew up, and that was my childhood. But yeah, I wanted to just dive in deep just for people to get a sense of Guti. You do not have to have gone through something dramatic or had like a shit childhood in order to be in the LGBT. Because I think a lot of people think that for some reason, like, what happened to your mother? Like, what happened to your father? And it's just like, no, most of our stories are actually like that.
Yeah,
it's not a choice. It's not created through trauma.
For me, it was my friendships were always with boys, man. Like, not even to say I wanted to be you or not. Like, I just enjoyed the activities more, you know, because the girls, I was a late bloomer. I've always been a late bloomer. Like, dating, all of I've just always been a late bloomer, you know. So in primary, I had 2 friends. The first one, Mina and I, our mothers were pregnant around the same time. So we grew up like siblings. And then he was like my brother, you know. And then I had a guy best friend who I met in grade 2. And he became my best friend until I like finished school, matric. And then, so those are the 2 constants. My 2 friends were like constant, 2 boys. And then I had a girl best friend in grade 6 who betrayed me. So I was just like, you know, and then all the girls in my school, they would just be like, and I just wanted to be a kid, you know. And the boys were the ones who were behaving like kids, like you know, were outside playing, serious, getting dirty, while the girls are just sitting at a corner acting like, you know, grown. So I was just like, I don't want that. I want to play. I want to have fun, you know. And then in high school, you know, I was always like I wasn't a teacher's pet, but like all the teachers liked me because of my manners, my behavior and stuff like that, my marks. You know, I was like always one of the smartest kids, especially in English. I really loved English. And then in high school as well, you know, academic achieving and stuff. In primary, I was an athlete, Benki Gym. And then I being ball. So they would like put me, because there was no girls soccer at the time, I would play in the boys' teams. So every time we'd have tournaments and stuff, they would always like, why do you guys have a girl? So the coach would be like, no, Sabin Tomazan. And then that's how they would make accommodations for me to play. That's how I got good at soccer. And then in high school, I stopped playing soccer. I was just focusing on my academics. And then, you know, top achiever and stuff like that. And then, yeah, friendships. I also went through something like that. I always only had one constant friend. Yeah. It was just me and him every day. So, but it was like the social thing, you see, like you said, like how we do at Kuruvuguti. Socialize. So that's what me and him. He was very, you know, popular and out there. And same as me, I was a very popular kid. But I was like, choose who I interact with. So me and him would just be social, no breaky, going from. But we did have a friend group. But at some point when I felt like these people, man, bafunuba ahead of their age. And I just felt like I don't fit into that. I want to live my age while I'm at that. I'm fitting pete stage, man, because I'm young when I'm younger, you know. So also that person, like saying, to isolate yourself from certain people because you don't like the way that they behave. At some point, people started having sex in high school, and it's just like some people started grooving and all of those things. To me, that was like a foreign concept. Like, groove, ganjani, how did you get away with that? Where are your parents? Like in teen, you know what I mean? My mother always kept track. Like, you have to tell her where you're going and stuff. And not to say that... I was shocked.
Like, I think when I got into university, that's when I was most shocked to find out what people were doing in high school. I was like, you guys were doing that?
I think I found out in my gap year, this is how people live. But I didn't do it. I just got more exposed to it. In high school, I would just hear the stories and I would be shocked to see. But like, you're young. How are you getting away with these things? Yeah. My house party and I was like, what's going on? And then when I got to uni, I started to see it now and even have access. I think that's also where I peaked. Yeah. To say, okay, let's see what's out here, you know. But yeah, the isolation thing is real because there was a time where I had conflict with my friends in high school and I was just like, Yazin, I don't want to do these things. I'll listen to you. You do your thing. But one thing I refuse to be a part of, like to be peer pressured. So I'll just be like, no, I'll stand my ground. And then, you know, by snacks. And then because they're more popular or whatever, they would do their own things. And then I just would stick with 1 or 2 friends. We'll sit in a class, near break and just chill. And then I think the first time I started dating, that's where I started to see, this is what's happening. Like when I dated grade 10, that was the first time I ever dated. I would get advances from people because I was always like a tomboy, you know. So when I got to high school, because in primary I was not interested at all. Like I would not entertain the notion. And there was no representation for being gay. So I had no idea what was going on. I just knew that ikhona lento, but angazi next ngayo. And then when I got to high school, I started getting advances now from girls.
Yeah.
And I was so confused.
Yeah.
I would open my bag after school and love letters are falling out. And I was so confused. And then for the first time, this one girl, confess. I was so nervous because I could see what she was trying. Because my signs, you know. But because I was so confused, I was just like trying to be evasive and try to miss her and ignore her or try to run away. And then she caught me. Like,
did you go to an all-girls school?
No.
Oh, it was co-ed.
Yeah. So this girl, after break, like I was trying to run away, but now I'm trapped and she caught me and she's telling me she likes me. The only fallback I had was my mom doesn't allow me to date. Like I didn't want to disappoint her or anything, but I was just like, my mom doesn't allow me to date. And still these love letters and there were all these advances, you know. And then even my first kiss, it was stolen from me by some older girl who was sexualizing me. Like there were so many things that were happening when it came to my sexuality because yes, my representation, it shows that she's gay, but I didn't know we can actually do it. Like I thought I'm gay, but that's just me. I wasn't dating gay, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
So this older girl, like she was sexualizing me a lot at school. She was even using me as a trophy. Because, like, you know, I would wear my blazer, my tie, looking good, fresh haircuts every week. So she would have me come to my class working a break with the older girls. And she would, like, you know, flex me around to her classmates to say, Petit Stogo, say grade 9, who's good looking. Yo, this thing of being sexualized has been happening my whole life. You know what I mean? And, yeah, she stole my first kiss. I was just like, you know? And in grade 10, that's when I like started to have feelings for another girl. Yeah, that's when I started dating. And yeah, that's pretty, but in uni, that's where I really started to be more free and express myself and my sexuality and things like that. But before that, it was confusing. It was very
I can also
confusing.
relate in terms of friendship as well. I'm also friends with a lot of males. I don't know, I just get along.
I like
even
them.
at work, I'm like best friends with like a 60-year-old man.
They're the best.
40,
Older men are so, I like old people.
I love old people as well. But yeah, growing up also, I was very much male. Males were
Male friends,
my friends. I remember even, I think I was in grade 1 or 2. All my guy friends were playing cricket, and obviously we just had a guys cricket team. I rocked up there with my cricket stuff. I don't know how I got into the team. I think my mom went to go speak to the principal or something. But I played cricket in the boys team, grade 1, 2, and 3. I just wanted to play with the boys, and for somehow, somewhere I was in the team.
But
it wasn't a traumatizing childhood at all. I had fun. I had fun as a child.
I had a rap career.
Really?
But it was okay. Yeah.
Everyone was either a rapper or they were a crumper.
Yeah.
Remember that era?
Both. I did both. So in grade 6 and 7, I was a part of this crew. And we would go to studios to record music. So there's 2 songs out there with a verse of mine in that song. And I would sing the chorus as well because I can sing. And then on the talent segment, don't worry. And then in high school, when I started to focus more, because now I sing Guti, now I need to work harder on my academics, you know. I started just writing. So I'd write poetry or short stories with my friends. I could collaborate, like write poems back to back. So I'd write the first line, I'd write the second line. But before that, I was a rapper. Then I was part of a dance crew. So grade 6, 7, rap. Grade 8 and 9, best jive is schooling. So on your CV, say for example, Valentine's Day, everybody's wearing red and white. Tina, we rock up with black and grey. And then we give the DJ our song. Then out of nowhere, we just start dancing and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I remember that era. What was that famous crump group? There's this famous crump. These boys who used to travel around, and I think they even had a show on Vuzu.
I don't know.
Mafika, do you remember? There was this Quest Crew. Yeah, I think it was Quest Crew. It was a big thing. Your rapporteurs. There was this era, Jay, of J Squad. There was this era of
Stomp the Yard, those songs, dance at school. It was a lot. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed high school. Like, I was one of the popular kids, but even without that, like, I had a good time. I had good friends. The teachers were very supportive. I remember every time, there's only one teacher I ever had conflict with in my schooling years. Nakona, I didn't know where it came from, you know. So this teacher was new to our school. I don't know.
Oh, yes, where they had the mosque and they... Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was an era.
So this teacher, she was new to our school, and I don't know if it's because I'm black, but, like, you know, she had a problem with me being a top achiever in an Afrikaans class, you know. So I remember we'd do oral presentations and stuff. That was my
English teacher, and she would say it low-key.
Exactly. So she would be angry when, say, for example, we're doing a spelling test and then we swap so that another person marks your paper. Then she calls out who got 10 out of 10. And then someone would have my paper, and then then like, who's this person? Who's Lungile? And then I'd raise my hand. She would be angry. And so I just felt, Guti, this lady can sabotage me, you know. So I went to her one day. I was like, ma'am, I don't know what I did to you, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you, because I can see you, Guti. There's something that's not... So if I did anything to offend you or to make... Like, I'm really sorry. And from then on, we were cool. So all the teachers, they really liked me. Especially, like I said, languages were my favorite. You know, so I enjoyed high school. AYANDA. Like, I had the best time. Other than the sexualizing and all of those things. Because, it was hectic. But... I really, really enjoyed high school.
Please guess, like, my number one complaint from teachers were... We'd have parents-teacher meeting. There was one thing that would complain about me.
You disrupt the class?
Yes. Why would you guess that?
Because you tell the truth. So if nonsense is happening around, you're calling people out.
Not necessarily nonsense, but like I would speak to anyone. Like the library kid, or you were this. I wasn't friends with anyone, but like I spoke to everyone.
Yeah, same.
I was definitely... No, but I wasn't popular at all. Like it wasn't that...
So it wasn't
that.
So how did you do that?
I don't know. I think it's because also I'm a person who likes a lot of things. So like if the library kid had a book, I've read it too. If then the kid who was into fashion, that I was into the fashion too. If a kid was into athletes and swimming, basketball, I was also doing sports as well. If a kid... I was just... I think I would always have something to talk about with whoever I was near.
I get that.
It would always be...
How do you do that without being popular though?
No, I wasn't... I don't know. I wasn't popular.
I would have thought you were, honestly.
I wasn't. I was... That's why I don't even say I was quiet. I just didn't speak.
I get you.
But when it was time to speak, I would speak. Especially if it was about my mind and defending something. You were going to hear from me. You were going to hear from me. I remember this one time this was so bad. I was in such a bad mood. Yeah, this was matric or grade 11. I remember this Afrikaans, this bio teacher I had. Angsa, what happened? But I was having such a bad day that day. And it's the way that she spoke to me for me class because she was my homeroom teacher. And then I remember I went to bio. I had not done my homework, which, guys, obviously it was my fault. I had not done my homework or something like that. And then she was just coming at me, man. She was coming at me. And we had to open our book to show our homework from the previous nights. And she asked me for an answer. And I was just very much like, I don't have it. And then she was like, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I said I don't have it. So I would know that time I was just having a bad... but I would speak and not be... And I would be unapologetically about it, but I wasn't talkative. I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't talkative. I wasn't loud. I wasn't in your face. I wasn't saying hi, hang out with the kids and the popular kid. That wasn't me. I was mostly in the background, but
they will hear from you. So it's like almost what you said about wearing your heart on your sleeve. That was what you would express. This is how you feel, and you're gonna hear it.
But I was definitely not loud. I was mostly just quiet.
And then,
I think maybe some people thought so. I think even now, even at my work, some people think so. I don't really want to get into it, but I don't even know if I want to mention it. The whole me getting bullied at work currently. I think I don't want to mention it because I'm still going through that, and I don't want to mention something I'm not over. I'm definitely fine, guys. It's not a whatever. Even now, because I'm that type of person where if you, I don't want to swear. What other word can I use? If you disrupt my employment or my money, you're never going to hear from me ever again. Those are actually 3 things in my life: my money, my job, and my family. If you disrupt those 3 things, you're never ever going to hear from me. So even at work, like even working in the same department, do not talk to me through email. I do not say hi. I do not say good morning. We are not going to be cordial. That's just not who I am. And some people find that awkward and rude. I do not care who you are. You disrespected me, and that's how I'm going to act. You're not going to get any energy out from me. And I remember my mom told me, it's like, AYANDA, but also you kind of have to just show them that you're not affected. I'm like, I'm not affected. I just don't want to talk to them. That doesn't mean I'm affected in any type of way. But you're not going to get my energy. My work is going to prove itself, and hopefully that's enough. If you escalate it, we will have the proof there. But I don't even say, I think some people find that awkward because I'll let you go past some of my coworkers and don't even look at me at that point. Like, we'll be in the kitchen and silence. Like, you're not getting anything from me. So even if we have to clap for something, I'm not clapping for you. When I say you're not getting my energy, nothing.
Damn.
When I communicate with you, that's mean I have to and do it on email. Don't even come to me at my desk.
Yeah. So you don't mind being in the same. I think
I don't mind being uncomfortable, and I don't mind being isolated.
For me, I'd rather just stay away entirely if I can help it. You know,
I mean, at a workplace you can't necessarily do that, but I think everyone also has that thing of like, oh, I have to be cordial, I'm just like, no, I know my work, I'll do my work. And I think that's how I've also grown as a person, because people around me, I feel like that towards them I always have to do research before asking for help is a last option for me when it comes to my work. Like, I will go research it before I even come to you, because I do not want to even come to you. Even just to send that email will probably be the last resort I do. So that also has grown me, as in some psycho way has grown, especially in my career as well. To find answers for myself rather than just asking.
Hyper independence.
And so even at work, I only sit with one person. But we'll get into that later. I think when I'm over the phase I'm at, I don't want to go deep into it. But
it's okay.
Even that, like, I think people do find me to be a rude person. I think because I won't be cordial. That's not happening. I'm not going to fake smile with you. I'm not doing any of those things. You're not going to speak to me. You're not even... I remember there was one lady, she was praising me on my work the other day. And she was one of the problem. I didn't even say thank you. Because like, what am I supposed to do with your praise? You were part of the problem.
No, I
to me, like, it's just, like, of course they find it rude.
At all. You don't make accommodations for it at all.
If you compliment me, I don't celebrate you. If you insult me, I keep quiet, especially in meetings. I'm like...
So everybody's in the room clapping hands and you're just chilling.
No, I'm not doing that. For what? Because I'm not happy. Not that I'm not I'm indifferent.
Yeah.
Lungile, if we're not getting along and you've done something to me, right? And you achieve something, I'm not. Why am I clapping for you? I'm not happy for. Not that I'm not happy. I don't want to say I'm not happy. I'm indifferent.
Yeah.
Why would I be clapping for your achievements?
So it's not just even for the sake of clapping. You're engaged. I get you.
Smile, nothing. Hi, nothing. My energy is just cut.
Yeah. No, I get you. I respect how far you took it.
Because I'm gonna have to then fake it if I don't. I'm going to have to smile. And it's awkward because with me, you can see everything on my face. I cannot hide it. So even that as well, saying fake, imagine. I can't even do that.
That's too much energy also.
That's also the thing.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get you. I get you fully.
But I think I'm okay with it because I'm comfortable with being by myself. I think when people do that to you at work, I get how it can affect other people because they're not, especially if you are a social person, like it can affect you if people isolate you. But for me, please do that. Like I thrive because I'm already alone. I live by myself.
Yeah.
I go to restaurants by myself. It's not something new. It's just now it's at work. And then if I'm going to have lunch, I'll go have it by myself. Like it's not that.
I feel like that needs to be normalized. Also, like solitude. You know, people don't spend enough time alone
by themselves, and then they try to accommodate when they don't need to.
True.
Yeah, well, because I think it would affect me a lot more than it should if I wasn't someone who's comfortable with myself.
And you're
but
content.
Because you isolate me, like if anything, please do that. I'm more comfortable with you if I don't fake hide it and.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I can extend myself, but beyond a certain point, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know, like, if we're talking, it's okay, let's talk. But beyond a certain point, leave me alone. Like, I need to be by myself. I need to reset. And then, but I get you fully. I just, like, you took it to a whole nother level.
I don't take it there. I think everyone should be like that.
I agree.
As we were talking, they should bring back shame. Because I remember I told you I had an issue with that. Some other lady, the one that I was, where I rented from her. Remember that story I told you? I won't go so
yeah, I remember.
And then I saw her at an event.
You didn't,
And then she tried to, I don't know if she tried
like
to fist pump
cool.
me or act like she's cool.
Yeah.
I just looked at her. I'm like, no. I didn't say hi. I didn't acknowledge. I just looked at her hand. I'm like, there's no way you're trying to get some form of, why are you also wanting to touch me? I don't want to touch you.
Yeah, there's a problem with people trying to act casual when they know that
it's not.
We're not cool.
We're not beefing.
Yeah.
But you're
like
not getting any of my energy. Stay away from me. You're a weirdo.
I think we should all be like that, actually. Yeah. Because I pretend
so it's not for me. Whether someone is uncomfortable in my space, as long as I'm comfortable and I'm not bullying someone else, I don't condone bullying. I don't condone speaking down on someone else. But if someone comes and bullies me, you're not getting my energy. You've already shown me that you disrespected me. So what must I do now?
Yeah, I think we should all be like that.
Nah. Yeah, but it takes a lot to be. I think it takes a lot to be like that because it's hard to be isolated. Because sometimes, I do find it a bit hard. But I think if you're not used to it, you could get like very sad about it or depressed about it. And I think with me, the only issue I have is like, let's all be treated equally and then I'll be fine. I'm not asking you to put me on a pedestal or praise me. If we're at work, let's all be the same.
True.
Yeah, bon.
True.
And so, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, we don't have to all be that way. I think some people can, because I spoke to my sisters as well and they're completely opposite. Like my older sisters.
Yeah.
So my half sister, which is my sister, sorry to even say that, but my mother's daughter, just so you guys get the reference, she has a sister. So her sister is her father's daughter and she is my mother's daughter. So, but we're all sisters. We're in a group chat. So we're sisters. And so both of them, I think both of those two sisters, we similar, but they different. I don't know how to explain it. They're more, because they were giving me advice as well, and they're the type to fake it till you make it. Like, just act like you're okay, smile, act like it didn't bother you. For me, it did bother me, and you're going to see that it bothered me. But my emotions will be there. I'm not, why am I acting?
No,
you said something, it bothered me.
Quickly, on that note of sisters, were you and your sisters in the same school?
Yes, primary, but then not all of us, some of us stayed in the same high school, some of us went to another.
Wasn't that like, didn't teachers compare you to your sisters?
No.
Because I feel like when I got to high school and my sister was in high school, the teachers knew my sister and then they started to like expect her from me. And I was just like, at some point I even had to speak up for myself. Gucci, ma'am, I'm not her. I'm not my sister.
Maybe, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think also my older sister, we went to the same high school. She was we were a year apart. And then my younger sister, she went to the same high, but I was in matric. She was in grade 8, so I was already leaving.
I feel like there were so many expectations from me because of my sister.
Maybe she was a top achiever. She was a top,
but I was too. So like, but they just wanted me to follow in her footsteps. She was quiet. They expected that from me. You know, being papa, but I made sure, Guti, my schoolwork is proper. Like I'm still, I just have a different personality. I feel like they wanted to see her in me. And at some point
I think then it was because of who your sister was.
Exactly. So I was just like, I'm not her and she's not me. We can be different. You know, even in the family, like they would make comparisons. I'm like, I'm not her. Don't do that. You know, I think I even had to stop talking to people because they would compare me to my sister. And it's just like, she's not here. So if you want her, call her, but don't compare me to her. I feel like that can cause resentment. But yeah, we're cool. I just wanted to know your experience, especially in school. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I hope this was a very chilled episode. Get to know us a bit better and just see why we're the people that we are, how we grew up, what type of parents we had. Hope that gives you an insight to who we are. But that's episode 8 done. Oh, 9. Episode 9 done. We hope to see you guys.
Yes.
On episode 10.
Stay tuned. See you next time.
Oh yes, we forgot to do that segment, but
the question.
Yeah. I don't know if you had a question.
No.
For the audience to answer.
Yeah. What does forgiveness mean to you? I think you can talk about it in the next.
I hope you guys answer that on episode 8 and then we'll answer it for you guys on episode 9.
Yeah. Thank you guys. See you on the next one.
Bye.